In the cradle of civilization, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers nurtured life, a tale unfolds, whispered through the ages. This is the story of Inanna, goddess of love, war, and fertility, a being of unparalleled beauty and ambition. Inanna, a goddess unlike any other, held dominion over the land bathed in sunlight. Her touch brought forth bountiful harvests and passionate love. Yet, beneath the dazzling exterior, a flicker of discontent brewed. "My advisors," Inanna addressed them, her voice laced with a hint of restlessness, "is there not more to this existence? I rule the living, yet the mysteries of the underworld pique my curiosity. What power lies hidden beneath the earth?" Her advisors, their faces etched with concern, pleaded with her. "My queen," one cautioned, "the domain of Ereshkigal is not meant for the living. Tread carefully, for the path you seek is fraught with peril." The underworld, governed by Ereshkigal, Inanna's sister, is a place of no return. "Hear their warnings, Inanna," another echoed. "The laws of the underworld are absolute." Ignoring their pleas, Inanna's decided to embark on a forbidden journey. As she prepared for her journey, she adorned herself with the 7 sacred symbols of her divine power. To her faithful servant and guardian of her terrestrial domain, Inanna imparted a solemn charge. "Should I not return from the shadowed depths," she intoned, "seek the aid of the gods." Her descent began at the first gate, a colossal structure of obsidian, its surface polished to an inky sheen. A hulking gatekeeper, eyes glowing embers, barred her way. "Who approaches?" His voice rumbled like an approaching storm. "I am Inanna, Queen of Heaven," she declared, her voice unwavering. "I descend to witness the mysteries of the underworld." The gatekeeper studied her with a chilling intensity. "The first law of the underworld: surrender a piece of your worldly dominion." Inanna, her brow furrowed slightly, reached for her crown, the magnificent lapis lazuli adorned with sparkling stars, a symbol of her celestial power. With a deep breath, she unclasped it and presented it to the gatekeeper. The massive doors groaned open. Inanna proceeded towards the second gate, a chilling wind whipping around her. Here, a skeletal figure, its bony fingers clutching a massive iron key, awaited. "State your purpose," it rasped, its voice a dry whisper. "I am Inanna," she repeated, her voice echoing in the desolate landscape. The skeletal figure narrowed its empty sockets. "The second law: relinquish a symbol of your earthly beauty." Inanna, a flicker of hesitation crossing her eyes, unclasped the exquisite necklace of carnelian, each fiery red gem representing her captivating allure. She placed it in the bony hand, and the gate creaked open, revealing a deeper descent into the shadowy abyss. The third gate loomed ahead, an oppressive silence blanketing the air. A cloaked figure, its face concealed, materialized before her. "Why do you tread where mortals fear?" It spoke in a voice like rustling leaves. "I am Inanna," she proclaimed, her voice gaining a hint of defiance. The cloaked figure extended a withered hand. "The third law: shed a token of your earthly power." Inanna, her gaze resolute, untied the magnificent robe woven with starlight, each shimmering thread a testament to her celestial authority. She draped it over the outstretched hand, and the gate sighed open, revealing an even more perilous path downwards. The descent continued, each gate a trial, each guardian demanding a sacrifice. At the fourth gate, she surrendered the golden bangles adorning her wrists, a symbol of her worldly strength. At the fifth gate, the jeweled anklets representing her swiftness were relinquished. Gate number 6 presented a new challenge. A monstrous creature, a grotesque fusion of man and beast, guarded the entrance. Its fetid breath hung heavy in the air, Who dares trespass? It roared, its voice a cacophony of growls and screeches. Inanna of the heavens above, she declared, her voice surprisingly steady. The beast cackled, a sound like cracking bones. The sixth law, surrender a mark of your divine favor. Inanna, her heart pounding, untied the sacred sash woven from moonbeams, a symbol of her connection to the celestial realm. She tossed it towards the creature, and the gate lurched open, a nauseating stench emanating from the depths beyond. Exhausted and vulnerable, Inanna finally reached the seventh and final gate. Here stood a skeletal woman, her eyes burning with an infernal light. Inanna, she rasped, her voice a chilling whisper. The final law. Relinquish your last vestige of divinity. Inanna, stripped bare of her ornaments and divine trappings, stood trembling before the gatekeeper. With a deep breath, she shed the last of her earthly adornments. Her regal earrings, delicate as the first blush of dawn, yet as potent as the tides, were gently removed. These jewels were the final remnants of her celestial essence. Inanna handed them over, her figure now devoid of the divine emblems that had once heralded her godhood. The seventh gate, a maw of utter darkness, swung open, swallowing the last vestiges of light that clung to her form. With the weight of her divinity left behind at the gates, Inanna stepped into the abyss, her every step an echo in the vast silence of the underworld. This realm, untouched by the sun's warmth or the moon's gentle gaze, was a stark contrast to the vibrancy of life she had nurtured above. The throne room of Ereshkigal lay ahead, a chamber where despair hung thickly in the air, woven into the very stones that paved the cold floor. Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, sat upon her throne of bones, her countenance a tapestry of sorrow and rage. The sight of Inanna, a goddess of life and vitality in her realm of death and decay, ignited a fury deep within Ereshkigal. Without a word, the verdict was cast. Inanna was struck down, not by sword or spear, but by the sheer force of Ereshkigal's will. Her once radiant form was suspended, a lifeless figure hung upon a hook in the darkest corner of the underworld, a stark reminder of the fate that awaited those who dared traverse the boundary between life and death. Above, the world felt the absence of its goddess. The fields lay barren, the rivers stilled in mourning, and the very air seemed to hold its breath. Ninshubu, witnessing the fading vibrancy of the world, remembered Inanna's foreboding instructions. Draped in sackcloth, she embarked on a desperate quest to the halls of the gods, seeking aid for her fallen queen. To Anu, the Sky Father, she pleaded, her voice a symphony of despair. To Enlil, the Lord of the Wind, she cried out, her words as piercing as the gales. And to Nanna, the moon god, she beseeched, her sorrow as deep as the night. Yet it was Enki, the god of wisdom and the waters, who heard her plea. Stirred by the loyalty of Ninshubo and the imbalance Inanna's absence had wrought, Enki crafted a plan to breach the gates of the underworld. From the dirt beneath his divine nails, Enki fashioned two beings, the Kurgara and the Galatur. Imbued with the essence of compassion and cunning, these creatures, unbound by the laws of the underworld, descended into its depths, their hearts set on the salvation of Inanna. In the gloom of the underworld, they found Ereshkigal in the throes of her own agony, her grief a mirror to the suffering she inflicted. The Kurgara and the Galatur, through acts of empathy and understanding, soothed the queen's tormented soul, earning the boon they sought, the release of Inanna. With the waters of life, they revived the goddess, her first breath a whisper of renewal that stirred the stagnant air of the underworld. Yet the laws that governed this realm demanded a price, a life for a life. Inanna, now restored, was faced with the harrowing choice of naming her substitute in the underworld. The moment of reckoning was upon her as she emerged from the underworld. Her gaze turned to Dumuzi, her consort, who in her time of darkness had sat upon her throne, untouched by the shadow of her plight, his heart distant from the sorrow that had befallen the land. The judgment was cast, and Dumuzi, because of his neglect, was chosen to descend into the underworld to fulfill the decree that demanded a soul for Inanna's release. The tears of Inanna, Dumuzi's devoted sister, moved Inanna, who decided that Dumuzi and Inanna would both share the burden, their fates intertwined in a cycle of descent and return. This alternation gave birth to the seasons. Thus concludes the tale of Inanna,